Hi, I'm Paul Feinberg, the editor of Anderson Assets magazine at the UCLA Anderson School, and I'm with Professor Sanjay Sood. Professor, how does a company go from being maybe a local brand to a regional brand up to a national brand and even to becoming a global brand known around the world?
Global branding is quite a considerable challenge because consumer knowledge is different in each part of the world that you may be operating in. So if you are a company like Disney that has been operating all over the world for a long period of time, people may know you through your movies, but that doesn't mean that a Euro Disney or a Tokyo Disney is going to be successful from the onset. So what you always have to keep in mind, again coming back to our academic frameworks, is that consumer knowledge is richer in certain regions of the world than other regions. So in the U.S., Disney may be known as a company that is about family fun entertainment, but that doesn't mean that in Europe or in Asia that it's going to have the same kind of rich knowledge that people have here in the United States. So part of the challenge as a brand manager is recognizing the fact that people may not be as aware or familiar with your brand, and then try to nurture in the same way, really starting from the beginning of where consumer knowledge is in that particular part of the world, and then developing the same types of programs that resonate with that particular target country or target segment of that country's population. So for example, in the U.S., maybe Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is kind of the archetypal Disney film. But maybe overseas it may be something else. It may be The Lion King, which was people's first exposure to Disney. So in the U.S., our exposure is much richer, much older, much more tradition oriented, but in Europe or in Asia, they may have caught on to the Disney brand much later. And so as a brand manager, you have to recognize that, try to measure where consumer knowledge is, and then use that knowledge in your theme parks. So for Euro Disney or for Tokyo Disney, maybe there should be more emphasis on those titles or those properties that the Europeans or the Asians are more familiar with, and less emphasis on the ones that maybe play well here in the United States.
What about the reverse? What happens, how does a company, maybe Toyota comes to mind, who was one type of, seen as one brand in Japan, when the United States was maybe at one time seen as the good mileage alternative to buying a Detroit car. Now Toyota has a wide range of brands and even a luxury brand as well. How does a company from outside the United States introduce their brand into this market?
Yeah, Toyota is an interesting example because there is a company that when they were first launched into the United States, a lot of their brand knowledge was developed by the fact that they were coming from Japan. And so made in Japan really meant something and helped form the Toyota brand name. So if you recall, in the United States at that time, the cars were much bigger, and Toyota was coming in with smaller, more economical cars. Over time, as consumers learned about Toyota and its array of products, they were recognized as being a high-quality manufacturer, perhaps even higher quality than the big three here in the U.S. And made in Japan went from, oh, I'm not sure, I'm not certain, to being something that's really valued by customers. Made in Japan is actually going to lift the equity of any car that Toyota makes. And but that even then has limitations. So Toyota is known for having high quality, economical cars. What happens when they want to launch a luxury line that's going to compete with Cadillac and BMW? There they chose to launch a new brand, Lexus, that is going to allow them to play in the luxury brand space perhaps better than the Toyota brand would have played in that space.